Kia ora whānau. Here we go. Morena. So I'm Pastor Lucky Tukoha, and today I thought we're starting to do a service for the Kingdom Brotherhood. It's going to be on Mondays, and Monday instead of Sunday, because there's so many services on at the moment for New Life and for all the other churches, and so many church services happening around the country. Well, there's no point trying to squeeze us in, and I'm all about change. And Sunday isn't just a day for God; it's every day. And so ours is going to be on Monday mornings, and we've got next week is Jonathan Tolson, one of our South Island leaders. It'll be one of the other boys afterwards, one of the other leaders, and it's going to be like that. And we're just going to keep rotating it. I'm standing in a church called Aotearoa Church, which is the name of my iwi, up here in Waikato. I was christened in this church 50 years ago, sorry, I'm jumping the gun, eh? Yeah, I was christened here 50 years ago, and my mother's tangi came through this church after leaving the marae. My twins, when they passed away, they came through here. So this is this church, this wharikarakia, is very sentimental to me. Unfortunately, the place is falling down, and I know the Lord intended this place to be full of people like it used to be, but in the last 25 years it's been dwindling, and it's been dwindling for a reason, and the reason is which is my belief, is that people haven't been going out and actively bringing people into the church. That's what it takes. It takes movement, and being actively go and grab people and bring them into the church. Because opening a door to a church is just an open door to church. We've got to bring brothers in. It's about being a light. And today I'm going to talk about a call to duty. The call to duty. Last week probably was better. Last week was for Anzac Day. It was a call to duty for those men, and this kept kind of coming into my mind about what those men were called to do. I thought about my great-grandfather. My great-grandfather came back from Gallipoli, World War I. He never spoke again, and just because of the things that he had seen and what he'd been a part of, he never spoke again. That's huge. I don't know anybody in my lifetime that has stopped speaking because things were so bad. And my grandfather, because that was my great-grandfather, my grandfather came back from World War II. He went as a 17-year-old boy to answer the call of duty. And he lost two of his brothers there. And it gets me right here that they answered the call to duty. They put their country over themselves. They put the lives of us, our lives, over their lives. And that's like Jesus Christ. You know, he was sent here. He was sent here to give his life so that we could live. Through his death, we lived. Answer the call of duty. So when they answered their call of duty, they were a sacrifice, really, but they put others in front of themselves. And this is what this walk is with the Kingdom Brother. It's about putting other people in front of us, ourselves, our own personal things, and answering this call to duty. And not just for the Kingdom Brother, for all Christians. You know, start answering the duty. Are you answering the call to duty? And this came on me last week at Anzac when I was thinking about my great-grandfather, my granddad. And then I started thinking about the church and Jesus Christ, how he answered that call to duty. And man, it's really humbling when you think about what they've done for us. And you know, I thought about it for a while. I thought, could I actually do that? And of course I would. But it's a big one, eh? To answer that call to duty. And I don't feel comfortable standing here today, even in this church. I mean, it's at home, but I don't feel comfortable because this is out of my comfort zone. It's having to tell people and share, but you know, it's that obedience that keeps me going and speaking to people. So that's why I'm here. So I turn up. And, you know, it's powerful stuff when you think about what Jesus did for us, that he knew what was going to happen to him. That he was going to be brutally ripped apart. And a torturous death of crucifixion and being whipped with a cat o' nine tails. And he still stepped up to the call of duty. And he knew full well what was coming. My great-granddad knew full well what was coming. My granddad knew full well what was coming. Do you know what's coming? Are you stepping up to this call of duty as a Christian? Or just warming the seats of a church? It's about a call to duty. 2,000 years later, we're not in much better of a place than we were 1,000 years ago, probably. And it's that call to duty. And that call to duty for the Kingdom Brotherhood that we're encouraging men to step up. And the churches to step up too. It's time for all to step up. So, this is the challenge. I'm all about challenges. I love taking up challenges. Being a pastor is a challenge. You know, be obedient to God is a challenge. Answering the call of duty is a challenge. It's time to start stepping up to it. My granddad told me the story just before he died about being in Egypt, because that's where he was. He served in Egypt. North Africa, Egypt, and through France. But his hardest time was in Egypt. And my granddad said to me, one day, he goes, you know, son, he goes, it's in the desert where we were fighting. It was the hottest place in the world during the day. And in the evenings, it was the coldest place. And the bombing, they used to get bombed in the evenings. And the evenings was when the heavy bombing started. Just on dusk, it would start. And he goes, it would just go all night, just bombing. And so before the dusk, they would prepare a foxhole. And they'd make these foxholes with 6 or so in them. And when the bombing started, they'd hop in these foxholes. He said most of the guys would pray out loud. He didn't know that any of them were Christians or believed in God, but they started praying. He was one of them, he said. They started praying because they knew that was the only thing that could possibly get them through that night on their call to duty. They knew, and it gave them comfort to know that prayer was a possibility of help and it being answered. So they prayed. When those bombs were dropping, he said to me, he said he knew some of his brothers in arms were dying. And they were frightened and they were scared in those holes. A lonely place at night, on the other side of the world, in a hole, being bombed, knowing that your brothers in arms are dying. And he said to me, the hardest other part was not being able to see anybody apart from the quick flashes of those bombs when they were close. Otherwise you could just hear them. But it was total darkness. And they had to keep total darkness to not give away their position. Well, my grandfather had a torch, and the torch was a green torch. So not to send out the bright light, it was green. So he could read maps. And he used to put it on things, and so when they were when they were lost, he could get it out in the darkness, put it on his maps and navigate and see where he was. And it was just enough light. So one of them, he said, it wouldn't take long before one of them would say, "Come on, Joe, give us the light." Because my granddad's name was Joe. "Come on, Joe, give us the light." So my grandfather would pull out his light and turn it on, and his group that was in his foxhole would gather around him, looking at it. And he said the amazing thing was that it gave them warmth, that light. It's like when you're looking at a fire from a distance, you go, "Oh, yeah." For something, just looking at that fire gives us warmth inside, even if we're not standing close to it. It just gives us that feeling of warmth, eh? Well, this light did that to the men in his foxhole. And he said, we just sat there and looked at it. We huddled around and we just looked at it, and we all huddled in close. And, he said to me, it was just, they always say, we can't believe how much warmth we get off that light, even though it's as dull as it is. But my grandfather said to me there was one thing better than that. He said, when we had that light on and we could make out the outlines of the men with me, it gave me comfort to know that I had brothers with me in the same position. And they all felt comforted knowing that they could make out the outline in total darkness and make out an outline of one of their brothers while they're huddled in a foxhole, answering their call to duty. And that was the number one thing that light did to them. I am the light. It's written right through the scriptures. I think there's something like 95 mentions of the word light in the New Testament. Okay? So, the light brought comfort. The light brought peace inside them. It brought calm. Now, even no matter how dull it was, it did that. You know that I've been walking as a Christian for just over 3 years now. And I'm all about bringing things from the darkness into the light. Because that light is freedom. That light is comfort. And I keep thinking back to these men. And I just get encouraged to know that we've got to come towards the light. Well, the light's Jesus Christ. The Kingdom Brotherhood is the same thing. With these brothers, we see their outline. We're in the same position, but we're trying to bring them into the light. Because in that light, you get hope. And when you have hope, all things are doable. It gives us something to carry on when we have hope, because I know what it's like to feel hopeless. I've been hopeless for 49 years. I was lacking hope. But when Jesus Christ came into my life, he was the light to me. And it gives us hope. As Christians, we are called to be a light to others. As Kingdom Brotherhood brothers, we are called to be a light to others. Walk alongside people. Wrap around them. Give them comfort to know that there's others with them. And it is about, I hear about being bold and courageous, and, well, are you? Are you stepping up to the plate to answer that call? I'll leave that with you to think about. And we are called, all I know is we are called to be a light. And not just some dull light like my granddad's torch, but a bright light. Be a bright light into all the others. I've got a couple of scriptures that I'm going to talk. I'll just read and just share with you, and then we'll pray and then I'll carry on and leave you to your day, and hope you're all blessed. So one of the scriptures I've got is John 8:12, and it says, once more Jesus addressed the crowd. He said, I am the light of the world. He who follows me will not be walking in dark, but will have the light, which is life. And you think about that for a minute. We're to be the light. I've got another scripture there. I've got the small scriptures because I'm not a good reader, and I just keep it very vague. But come on, these are from the Bible, man. These powerful things. The second one I have is Psalms 119. 119, whatever the dots are, 105. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. That's a fitting psalm for me. That's a fitting reading for me that way. It keeps me on that narrow path, because it's a very narrow path, Very narrow path when you've only been in 3 years. And, the Lord is that light to me. It guides my feet. Matthew 5:15. No one lights a lamp and then puts it under the basket. Instead, a lamp is placed on the stand where it gives light to everyone in the house. Whoa, that's where it's at, No point being a light after your 1 hour in church on a Sunday and putting your light back under the bed or into the wardrobe. Carry that light around like this. Be proud of it. Be righteous and bold about it. That light belongs where people can see it. And that's what we need to do. We need to start carrying ourselves correctly. I hope somebody got something out of this, and I'm going to cut it here. But I really pray that somebody got something out of this word, because it was put on my heart, and I turned up. It's answering the call to my duty. I'm the national leader of the Kingdom Brotherhood. I'm a Christian, I'm a pastor, but I'm a man that wants to be obedient and to answer the call of duty. So I encourage you all to step up. I really encourage you all to step up to this call on our lives. All Christians, all Kingdom Brotherhood, all people that know the Lord, it's time to step up. So I'll just lead us in a prayer. Lord, I ask that you bless all that are watching, and that it has touched their hearts to answer the call of duty and to step up and out so you can step in, to be bold like lions and to be a light of hope to others. I ask this in Jesus' mighty name. Amen. Have a blessed day all. Next service will be next Monday. Jonathan Tolson, his call to duty. And then Luke Bowler's going to be the following week in Studian, or the week after that. And we'll just keep doing this, and I'm not sure how long we're going to do it for, but at the moment it seems appropriate because it's online and we want to reach brothers. And it was Pastor Brian O'Connor from Kaikoura New Life who put this on my heart, threw me under the bus, but I'd thrown him under the bus about doing the online services, and he said to me, it'd be good to encourage the men that are going to look at what you're doing, and men that want to walk with you, and try to inspire them with what we bring into the table as men, and as Christian men, righteous Christian men, walking strong and proud. So have a blessed rest of the day, and I'll leave you with that, Ka kite.